I'd like to welcome our newest sponsor, Schecter Guitars. This holiday season, go over to schecterguitars.com and see what high-quality goodies they have waiting there for you. Premium feel and unbeatable price. See why guitarists like Isaac Brock from Modest Mouse, Robert Smith from The Cure, and Ernie C. from Body Count all love Schecter Guitars. A wide variety of styles and builds with high-end components and affordable prices for touring guitarists. Built to last. Go treat yourself and try something new you've always wanted to check out. Schecter Guitars has it all. What's up, everybody? Our partners at Izotope are having a huge holiday sale. Go to izotope.com/deals to save 30% or more on pro mixing and audio repair tools. Save over $400 on RX11 Advanced. Solve the unsolvable with their complete 44-tool audio repair and enhancement suite. That's izotope.com/deals. These savings are for a limited time only. Don't wait. Hey, what's happening? Before we jump into the show, I wanted to see if you had any music on a hard drive. You have a band, you have a project, and you want to self-release your own music. Well, there's an easy way to do it. You can go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate and go get your music up on all the streamers. You keep 100% of your royalties, and you can get 30% off by using this code. It's a great, easy way to get your music up on the streamers and share it with your fans, your friends, your family, your mom, your dog, everybody. Everyone wants to hear it. But go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate, HYPHENATE, and send me the link. I want to hear it too. Send your mom the link. Send your dog the link. They all want to hear it too. What's happening, everybody? This is Hyphenate Halftime for, the time in between Christmas and New Year's, kind of, the grundle, the taint of the year that doesn't really exist.
Yes.
In between the balls and the butthole, you're sort of in there of the year.
Of the end of the year.
It is the end of the year. Yeah. What day is this? Today is the 29th. And I've had this beautiful thing. The best gift I got for Christmas was this year? Aaron Farley, my co-host on this.
I could guess, but why don't you tell everybody? Influenza
A. It's a beautiful thing. We all got it here, except my wife, which she got a special flu shot at a special market later than anyone else, and she did not get it. But
okay.
We've all had it. And it's a hell of a thing. How about the Farley household? Did the school children bring home anything, or your school experience?
No,
nothing.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
We've all felt slightly. I mean, both Michelle and I have felt slightly under the weather here and there.
Just parent. But
crud. I think that's just stress and stuff.
Oh my God.
But other than that, I think mostly just waiting to see what the weather was going to do.
Yeah. Did you guys get a bunch of snow? You're in the mountains of Southern California.
No snow. We were about 5 degrees away from snow, I think.
Okay.
It's pretty warm down here. I know Mammoth ended up getting 4 feet or 5 feet. And then in Tahoe, the mountains up in Tahoe got like 10 feet of snow, which is crazy in 2 days. Like usually that's like, there's a big storm coming in. It's going to snow for like a week or two. This was all like Mammoth got, I think, 4.5 feet overnight.
Oh no, that has to be a nightmare for people that live there, right?
Or like over a 24-hour period. Yeah. And they went from zero. Like they weren't, I think they were open, but there was like a couple runs open. It wasn't like they had a really poor first couple months and then, poor feet overnight. So now they're not even open because they have to dig everything out and they have to do avalanche control and all that kind of stuff. So,
and poor people in Wrightwood. This is our local part. There was a lot of mudslides up in these the hills and mountains of Southern California.
They've gotten it all for the last 4 years. They've had major fires and flooding, and then also they half of their local economy, or probably almost all their local economy, as people coming up for skiing and snowboarding and stuff during the winter. And these last couple years have just been kind of trash. So at Mountain High, so that I think they're just like, oh my God, give it a rest.
They're
Can we
done.
just have a normal, like a little bit of snow, let it be cold enough for snowmaking, and let's not have an earthquake, because they're right on the San Andreas Fault also.
Oh no.
So there's always that looming. Have you ever been out to Mormon Rocks? Have you seen that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it sounds familiar.
So if you drive on you go out and you go on the 15.
Okay.
And then
This is
as
very
you're
Southern
going
California
north
local
to
podcast.
like if you're going,
Everybody. Yeah.
if you're going to Mojave,
Okay.
so like, or Vegas or whatever, like you're going on the 15, right as you're going on the 15, there's these huge rocks that jut out, like,
oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen those.
300 feet high, like and it looks like a big shelf coming out of like it looks like Star Wars or something.
Yeah.
That's Mormon Rocks. That's the San Andreas Fault. That's why those rocks look like that.
From earthquakes.
Because they're tipped up.
Shoved.
Because the fault is like right there. There's multiple faults, I think, but the fault is basically has like dipped one side of the whole shelf into the earth, and one side is jutting out of the earth. It looks like you cut two legs off a table and just let it fall.
Bonk.
But yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
That
so
sounds fun.
Wrightwood has that going for it too. So they're right in the middle of it.
The one benefit I have to say that from having this flu for the last 4 days is I feel like I've done like 100 sit-ups just from all the coughing and hacking.
Oh,
I
okay.
just get this kind of core engagement.
You're feeling good.
I realize how out of shape I am just from coughing for 4 days straight. I just feel like, oh, okay, yeah. That's where those muscles are. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I feel that.
It's getting you started.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. It's the first 4 days of a new you.
Maybe that's it. Yeah. Come out of this rebirthed, come out of the
Let's
fever.
look at this in a positive way.
I have had some interesting fever dreams, or just those moments, where you're just laying down in bed at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just sweating and feeling cold. One thing I wrote down in my notes, I'll write something in my notes app real quick if I feel like I'm not going to remember, like a dream or a thought or something. Mm-hmm. I think one of my favorite ones was Don Knotts RoboCop. I think this has to exist. Shan said I should do like an AI cartoon of this. I'm just like,
yeah. Oh my God.
I have one bullet. I have my one bullet, Ange. I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh my God.
What
are we doing here?
We must nip this in the bud. Criminal, we will nip this in the bud right now.
I need to watch RoboCop again. I don't think I've watched it since it came out.
Paul Verhoeven masterpiece. We showed Total Recall, the Arnold Schwarzenegger version, to our oldest son, our 12-year-old son, and he was okay with it. It was we only got about halfway through, and then he's like, "Okay, I think I'm good." I was like, the first 45 minutes of that movie is kind of the bulk of the movie. And then they go to Mars, and then you get. But we cut out before the Quato showed up. You got to.
God, I don't even remember Total Recall either.
Oh, we definitely have to have another sci-fi.
But bad sci-fi cop shows.
Oh, okay, I could do that. Yeah,
we could do that.
The New Year's authoritarian.
Digital authoritarian regime podcast.
Low budget authoritarian police dystopias.
Police state dystopia.
Wait a second.
How are you?
That was good.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay. Well. Oh wait. Hold on. I need to open my notes app. Low budget authoritarian police
state.
Police dystopias.
Police state dystopias.
Okay. All right. Hang tight. For the next one, I will have a list of films. Okay.
AKA everything up to now.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be fun. I mean, does what's the one with Stallone? Demolition Man? Does that count?
Oh,
I guess it's not very low budget. I'd have to take the low budget out of that one. But do you recall this one? Where he gets frozen and then reawoken in the future to fight the criminal, Wesley Snipes. And it's all sponsored by Taco Bell.
I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Okay, it's on the list. It's on the list.
I can see it, but put it on the list. Put it on the list. I keep mixing it up with the one What was the one with Andrew Dice Clay and he was the taxi driver?
Brain Smasher Love Story? No, there's the other one. Ford Fairlane.
Ford Fairlane. Yeah. Why did that come? I feel like when you said that, the other one, the Demolition Man, Ford Fairlane came into my head. Why did that happen? Maybe I'm having a fever dream.
It's around the same time, yeah. But yeah, Don Knotts RoboCop. I don't know. It just sounded good. Oh, but RoboCop's a great movie. The thing I've heard about RoboCop is Paul Verhoeven is a European filmmaker. I don't know if he's Dutch or Scandinavian. I feel like he's Dutch. But he, was like, came to America to make these movies, but he, in his mind, he was making like farces or satires, and like pushed the violence so far and pushed the sex so far that like there's only like no way anyone would think this is real or no one would take this serious. This is so like beyond parody. It'd
be like a comedy
into grossness. Yeah. And America loved it. And America was like, yes, that's perfect. Shoot the guy in the dick. The cops must shoot the guy in the dick. This is great. and I mean, yeah. So it's just his over the top sense, like satirical sensibility, dark sense of humor, just fit right in with like what the American zeitgeist wanted in terms of violence and sex and drugs and over indulgence of that in the 90s.
I mean, it kind of goes back to the horror movies that we watched. That like, okay, now's the moment to make it over the top. Like take it way too far.
Yeah.
Which is I guess why I never watched horror movies, because I didn't get that. I never got the like, oh no, this is supposed to be funny. Right. I was always like, it's like, I don't get, why is this face exploding? I don't get the. Well, I don't get the like. Okay, so there's a hand going down the mouth, ripping out the throat. Wait, what? Why? I don't.
But you weren't watching with a group of people, maybe that's part of it too.
No,
like you have to have that group of weirdos, or even on the date with the girl goes, oh no, grabs you, and then you're like, yeah, it's more fun.
Yeah, I never really got that until we were watching them recently, and then going, no, don't do it, don't
go down there. Oh no, how could you do it? All right, we saw Anacondas. I guess this will just be our movie review show, and we'll talk about Andrew Purr and My Bloody Valentine at some point here in this episode, like I always say in the descriptions we do.
Yeah. Speaking of movies,
but yeah, the movie roundup. We watched Anacondas with Paul Rudd and Jack Black yesterday.
Was it good?
It was great.
Did they play themselves in the movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
But they play like high school or like grade school friends who wanted to make movies, and then now they're old and kind of failures, and then so they say they're going to go make a remake, their spiritual sequel to Anaconda.
So they're actually going to remake Anaconda, like a second Anaconda.
Yeah. But I think there have been like, I think there's a whole series of low budget Anaconda sequels.
Oh, really?
In real, yeah. Oh my God. But they're making amazing. They're going to redo the reboot kind of thing, the legacy sequel thing.
I mean, do you think that that's because like making an Anaconda as like the evil, like the thing you're trying to get away with is pretty cheap? Like trying to get away from a snake in movie like production value, you get a lot of production value out of that, because you could just show like a snake head coming out of things, or like you could show rippling in water, and you don't have to build like some huge crazy alien and make a whole background scene. It doesn't have to have a history. It doesn't have to have any of that stuff.
Big snake.
Because everybody's scared of snakes already.
I think so.
Like, just make a big, huge one, and then majority of the time you can just like pull a sock through the water or whatever, and it's just as scary. It's just as scary because snakes are kind of hidden all the time, and you only kind of see their head, or you see them like wrapped up somewhere, and it's scary enough. Even little snakes are scary enough.
Oh yeah.
That when you make a big one, you're like, yeah, all we have to do is make like a little animatronic head
part of it in the back
coming out of the jungle.
Yeah, I mean,
it's scarier. It's scarier than like Stranger Things.
Yes, but there's a lot of big CG snakes in this one.
Oh, okay.
So there was
there goes my stupid.
You saw
theory.
the snakes. No, you definitely. But there's the moments, I'm sure, where you just see a little bit in the background of the rustling, and it's great.
Just a tail.
Yeah,
a little tail. Yeah. Or you just hear.
Is that the rattler? The
Maybe.
The rattlesnake on the Anaconda?
Seems scary.
It is
like a scary sound.
That is a good scary sound. That's got to go in the sample. I got to bring back our sample soundboard.
Yeah, anything that's repetitive and then gets loud and quiet.
Oh wait, here. Let's see. Can I do this? We'll do it live. Okay.
I swear to God, I can eat this thing. Oh,
I have to do it after the fact. I don't think I can load these live. Oh, I wish I could do live sampling on this.
Load them live. It's like, what do I need to breed for? I'm just sitting by the river. Yeah. See, that's what the snake is thinking.
My personal favorite. This is when I had the flu. Oh, is this not loading? It's me just breathing into the mic. That's horrible. That's the scariest sound I've ever heard. Oh my God.
That does sound scary.
Oh yeah.
Put a little reverb on that. Yeah. Speaking of Kevin Shields.
Oh yeah. Some reverb on the breathing. Yeah. Andrew. So yeah, the whole way this came to me was past guest, Ned Raggett tagged me in a Facebook post about this book that was coming out about my Bloody Valentine. He said he thought this was something that'd be up my alley. Cause I think in that interview, when I interviewed Ned, I kept pestering him about his Kevin Shields interview. And,
right.
And so he's like, oh, you might be interested in this. And so it's a whole book. So I pre-ordered the book and I reached out to Andrew to see if he'd want to talk about it. And then we had some like miscommunications and, but eventually we scheduled it and yeah, I mean, wow. He is a font of a wealth of knowledge and an obsession. I mean, yes. It's the kind of thing where, I always feel like I'm a big nerd about stuff. And then you talk to people who are really for real big nerds. You're like, oh, I don't, that's not the same thing. We're not playing the same game. These guys are real nerds.
I love obsessed people. I think I've mentioned it multiple times on here, but I love that because I'm such I get obsessed to a point for like a week on something. And then I'm like, oh, well, that's not fun anymore. And then I move on. And I've always kind of done that. And then, and so I've always had this deep respect for someone who's like stuck with something for so many years and gotten so many like vinyl collectors or like people that are just like, well, did you ever hear what it sounds like on the purple vinyl, the double grade, the one that was printed at this because their lathe is better, that, whatever, all of that stuff. I'm like, yeah, tell me more. Just, I won't remember any of it, but just tell me
keep
more.
Talking.
I love it. I love to hear the obsessive. I think that it's like the same conspiracy theory, like those kind of things. Like I love all of that too, because you're hearing this person that's just telling you stuff that you're like, I don't know. You could be completely wrong, or
I have no way.
But it sounds.
You,
this sounds amazing.
Committed.
Just take me on the journey. Take me on the journey. I'm here for it. But yeah.
I do have to say, I think colored vinyl sounds worse than black vinyl.
Do you?
Have you had this take ever happen?
I don't know. I wouldn't have remembered. I'm sure someone has told me that.
I think that's the case, but it becomes more valuable not because it sounds better, but because it is a limited varietal. It's like a colorway kind of thing.
Yeah, it looks cooler.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily an auditory thing. I mean, I would imagine technically there's no differentiation because it's just the material. However, I still think black vinyl sounds better.
I mean, I've never had a record player that would have been good enough to.
Right.
To
Yeah.
be able to tell the difference either way.
I guess there are some records though that are used from like recycled, like old records. You can just melt those down.
Oh, right.
And then they can press new records out of there. That is a recyclable material. They grind up old records. They have to take the labels off. But then they can grind it up and turn it into pellets again, fresh pellets, and make new vinyl from it. And I guess that doesn't sound good either. I've heard, but I don't know.
Really? It's because it has all the old souls of all the music. It's like remixing a million records into one.
They all
don't do it.
Moans.
Yeah. No.
But I guess the best sounding vinyl is the PVC injected vinyl that our good friends at Good Music do.
Oh, right.
This is the best sounding.
I feel like they told you that. PVC injected. I enjoyed that. I feel like My Bloody Valentine was definitely not a band that was on my. I think probably like you were saying, I had heard it, and instead of it being the perfect time for me to hear it. I heard it and went,
yeah,
there's just a lot of sound going on here, and I don't necessarily get it. I was also probably listening to like metal and rap, like anything that was fast at that point. And so anything kind of slowed down, I was like, yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't smoke weed, and I didn't listen to, I feel like in my later years, I've gotten into slower music more.
That's
like
interesting.
even it took me like 3 years to get into Elliott Smith. I was like, I don't know, man. I like Simon and Garfunkel. Like I like 60s stuff, but even, I mean, maybe not 3 years, maybe a year, but listening to Elliott Smith and going like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know. Guitar guy. And then after a year of really getting into it, I was like, oh man, what was I thinking? This is amazing and genius. But I was too busy listening to like, I don't know.
Body Count.
Fast metal. Yeah, something. I don't know.
The new Queensryche album.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. Love Queensryche.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, talk about a bad sounding record player. I mean, it's probably how a lot of it sounded. I think it was almost intentional, you know, in that creation video, you know, they show the music videos and then they have snippet interviews with Kevin Shields. He talks about, he wanted the record to sound like the needle had a bit of fluff on it. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of collecting all the dust in the grooves and then kind of muffled and, you know, murmured or almost far away. Like the music sounds like it's coming from another room. Like it's like coming from a room over with the door closed. You can kind of hear it through the walls. And all of those statements, again, just hit me at the exact right time when I was kind of fed up with post Nirvana sort of, or not fed up, but you know what I mean? Where I was kind of like, what's really avant-garde or what's really challenging in this kind of, you know, mall punk suburban Southern California world I lived in. I didn't feel like, you know, being a punk as with, you know, spending tons of money on hair products and buying your clothes at the mall and putting your hair, you know, making a mohawk. And it's like, this isn't punk. This feels very like buying in to the man, you know, or like, you know, listening to Green Day on MTV. It's like, this is not punk. There's something about this ethos of being your own person and finding your own creative expression in the world that, you know, doing the same thing everyone else is doing isn't part of that. So I think the My Bloody Valentine thing is like, this is abstract. This is different. This is another left turn or, you know, or it's a weird corkscrew turn musically that I thought was really interesting, especially, you know, at that young influential age.
Right. But still listenable.
Kind of, but I don't even know if I can do I think I tortured myself for a little while too. And I was kind of into that, you know, as a kid, because I remember, you know, I inherited a bunch of tapes and CDs and stuff from my older brother who had passed away when I was 12 and he was 25. And I was a cool music collector, skateboarder, you know, guitar playing influence in person. And so I got this tapes and I was just overwhelmed with grief and dealing with all kinds of adolescent sort of, you know, things you deal with. And so there's things in there, you know, I'd go through and listen to stuff and obviously just cry and just have such a, you know, just being just terribly sad. But I remember listening to like Sonic Youth Goo and it like, this isn't music. I don't even know what this is. This is just noise. But I knew that he liked it. So I had to like give it a shot. But I remember that my brain being like, I don't even hear the song in this.
Right.
I don't know. You know, I don't know what the brain needs at that age as you're developing to even like musically understand like intros, or I just didn't get it.
Like some kind of patterns or something. And you're like, there aren't the patterns here are not working.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of did the quick succession of like, you know, the Addams Family Value MC Hammer soundtrack, you know, Too Legit to Quit kind of thing. I went from that into Nevermind and then into this whole other, you know, and then post Nevermind into this whole other world of music, you know, of whatever was out there, White Zombie, Metallica, all this, you know, kind of stuff that's around. Yeah. To then finding like, oh, I think I like the noisier stuff, but it was challenging in that kind of way where it really like broke my brain, I think in a little bit. And that's sort of what I think. So I stuck with it long enough because I knew my brother liked it and the art was weird and the whole thing was weird. The whole thing just felt so weird. And I was like, there must be some meaning to this. This can't just be a mistake. Like they didn't just make the wrong album or something, you know what I mean? Or something, or they didn't just like hit record on the wrong part of the recording session and just put all like the outtakes or the things in between the songs out. Like, I don't get what, like, I don't know how they made a whole album that sounded so unlistenable, but I kept listening to it. And that record is probably one of their more listenable records for Sonic Youth. You know what I mean? That's a pretty straightforward driving album. But at
totally
12 or 13, there was a summer when we redid the roof on our house, and it was my job to peel the back off of all of the adhesive, or not adhesive, but there was like the shingles came with like tar backing. Mm-hmm. And so I had to like peel the little backs off of all the shingles. And so my thumbs, you know, the fingernails of my thumbs were just like gone and just have like tar embedded under all my fingernails. I'm trying to rip these little like backs off of the shingles. And I just had on goo. So it was like this like weird like torture. It was like, that's a hot summer. I was up there sweating, getting sunburned, ripping off these things, you know, re-shingling the roof. And I had the easy job. I wasn't doing it. I was just prepping the thing. My brother and dad were the ones hammering it all down or doing whatever you do, you know, the real grunt work. I was kind of just the materials guy, prep and throw stuff in the trash. But anyway, that summer, that was really where goo sort of landed for me. I think after like hours of listening to it, it just sort of like, it was like the thing where the camera just comes into focus. I go, oh, that's what this is. And I think, and then that I rode that way for a while. And then the My Bloody Valentine was the same sort of thing. I think watching that video where they have the interviews with Kevin talking about why he was doing it, and sort of that thing of like, well, what if the camera never came in focus? What if everything was just blurry all the time on purpose?
Right.
And then it was like, I didn't think you could do that. Again, it was this like, you know, kind of finding art in the trash or something, or, you know what I mean? Like, but this can't be good. This can't work. I don't know. Anyway, that was how I got to it. It wasn't just, I was instantly cool. Like, you know, I wasn't born with some kind of cool bone sticking out of my forehead. Like, I think it was like a lot of weird, you know, I think emotional distress and torture that kind of got me through to some kind of thing of like, all right, the weirder the music, the more discomfort it puts me in, the more I can sort of just sit with that. And not because I know anything, but because I just enjoy the process of how unusual it feels, which I think kind of like I still carry into like the noise performances or things even to this day. That feeling of just like, so much music, you know, the instant that first note hits, you're like, oh, we're in a key, we're in a tempo, we're in a genre, we're in a place and a time. And I could, you know, you can list, it's for me. And how do I say, sorry, I'm going on a ramble here on a podcast. That's good. But my criticism, I think so often with music is it's often, and even with my criticism of my own music, my own art, is so much of it is just a collection of references repackaged and presented as my statement, which I think more or less counts as art, right?
Right.
It's
like a collage.
Yeah. Or even if it's a new piece of material, but it's the values derived. I think you get to a certain place in your career where if you're not aware of what your references are, you're seen as like amateur. It's like, that's part of the professionalism as knowing your winks and nods or your like pivots towards like, oh yeah, this reference that, but it's gone, but I'm going away from it here. It's like, I'm taking an opposite approach, but I'm acknowledging that, yes, this is where this comes from.
Like having an intellectual history or something.
Yeah. So I think there's so much of that, but then when music is then just on this kind of like outsider scope of things, there's that moment of just, or in the noisier sort of moment, you know, but again, that becomes part of a body of work. But in those earlier sort of like adolescent days, it was like, oh, this is totally new ground. I am off the charts. I don't have any references for any of this shit. And I dug that about it.
Well, especially when the people around you aren't listening to the same music all the time, or like, oh, you're the guy that listens to whatever, you know, whatever that is that you're listening to. It also can feel like, hey, I found this thing that uniquely like fits into my musical taste as well. It's not like I didn't just get it from my friends, or I didn't just get like, I found this thing. I think that is something that for me, I didn't come into till later. till later on. And like when I was younger, I was like, I don't even know. How do you find records? I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I was not like enough of a, like, I'm going to go out and search in the world. I'm like, yeah, I'll just listen to Led Zeppelin and Rush and Run DMC and whatever,
That's
Beastie
great.
Boys and
Yeah.
like whatever I
wrong with that
had
at
or
all.
my friends were listening to, or like we would get mixtapes from our friend's older brother and he would like pass us mixtapes, and which was awesome. And then, but it wasn't until probably I was in college until that I started like playing a little bit more music, or like playing in a band, or trying to play in a band, or like, what is this even, like trying to write a song, I guess, probably even of like, when you're like, oh, all the chords and you're like, these don't sound like songs though. Like, how do you write a song? And you're like trying to I'm like, I only have 5 chords or 7 chords or whatever. And like,
That's a
how
lot
are
of
these
chords.
songs sounding like this? And then you realize like, oh wait, there's other places you can put your fingers on the guitar. And what's a bar chord? And you can go up and down. Okay, I'm getting this. And like, what's a power chord? Oh, right. It's all power chords. Okay. So then, and then you take a
Just
power
stay
chord
there.
and what if I put my pinky on the 4th string where it's not supposed to go? Well, that sounds weird. Why is it going? Blah, 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 blah. And then you start listening to music that way and go, wait, that's the thing.
They're doing that chord.
That's the
They're
chord.
doing the wah, 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 chord.
That's probably like way up here, and it's going. And then you start like listening to music that way of like, oh, I've tried to make this before, even though it's like totally unsuccessful. But then you start listening like, oh, that's a bass guitar. Okay. That's a guitar. Oh, that's a keyboard. This is drums. Oh, that's a drum machine. And then you start thinking of it that way. I think that's probably where I went like, oh, right. This is just a bunch of people in a room trying to make something. It's not like a song. It's like someone's building a house and you're seeing the house, but you're like, can I go inside the house and look at the inside? How'd you build the inside? What'd you do there? What's this? What's that? And I feel like I didn't get that kind of curiosity till I was older. And then once I was older, and obviously like then photographing and like meeting people in bands, and then they're like, oh, you haven't heard this band? And you get the record and you're like, what is this? It's just like screeching or whatever. And then 5 years later, you're like, oh no, that's Blonde Redhead. Or that's like some band that you listen to all the time now. And like, or Fugazi. Like I remember listening to Fugazi the first time and just going, I don't, what is this? This is like, it's good, but I can't tell. I don't know what this is. I don't have any references because I didn't really listen to punk. I didn't really listen to all that stuff back then. And so I remember getting all those records and just being like, I know I'm supposed to like this, but I don't get it. It took me a while, but I can see that definitely with My Bloody Valentine. Even I feel like I only heard them for the first time probably through Travis and Aaron and Joe, like the Icarus Line guys and all that stuff. Because all of that was, I feel like, was coming back to be like the Stooges were coming back in. Mm-hmm. Like people were listening to the Stooges again. And then My Bloody Valentine and all of that, like Ride and all of those bands, I feel like were starting to like make I don't know, people were bringing those up in interviews or listening to them or whatever. But even then I was like, I don't know. It's just very noisy and slow.
But I think that's what was so shocking about it too, is they're like, the lingering effect or the long tail of specifically Loveless, that their album, kind of the last album up until that point when they went into, either a breakup or a hiatus. It was probably 10 years, that no one had really heard anything from them. And then there would kind of be the growing sentiment. And then it was like the Lost in Translation soundtrack, I think, was sort of where it was put out. It was sort of minted as in everything that was cool in the Sofia Coppola world and everything that was cool about that movie. There was some Kevin Shield songs and My Bloody Valentine songs were featured in that were sort of the like, oh, cool. Who's this band? It sort of made him prime for rediscovery. And it just was so shocking. I remember like talking to people and being like, how do you guys know this band? I discovered it in such a personal, like weird way. And I like, I felt like I sweated and cried over these records in such a way for so long. And then for them to just be like, I love my Valentine. They're great. And I was like, fuck all of you. Again, my hipster creds, all of my like gatekeepingness of my young 20s were just so up in the open arms. But at the same time, I had to just let it go. Then that kind of way, we're like, oh shit, they're going to play again. Holy shit. This, like it was something I literally never thought I would ever see happen.
Yeah.
I had such a context for them and then for them to see that live. It's incredible. It was really one of those wild moments.
Yeah, it's so cool.
15 years.
I mean, I think
16 years of after that record coming out that they played live. It's wild.
Well, and I feel like that there's like a lineage of bands who were able to like kind of do what they wanted and become and stay successful enough to be cool and to keep playing, and maybe didn't hit like, like the Sonic Youths or like the My Bloody Valentine, or I mean any of those. They were kind of like, I don't want to say snobby, but kind of snobby, or like kind of like, we're just doing what we want. Like, stop asking us to be like pop stars. We're not pop stars. We're making this thing. I want my record to sound like it has fuzz on the needle, or we're gonna do like whatever it is that we do. And there's enough people that are watching and listening that we can do that.
CDs.
And
that was probably the word.
Buying CDs, but also that they're cool enough that even the record labels kind of fall for it and go like, I don't know, man, they're cool. Like, you can't, like, there's like the Bob Dylans and the, like where they get to say all the stuff and people just go like, yeah, he's right. They're right. They're doing the thing. And that changes enough. And I feel like that, I feel like Kurt Cobain was like that too. It was like the interviews were always funny and he got to like be snotty to the interviewer and like answer in kind of like a funny way and be himself or whatever, like Dave Grohl. All of those that like, there's that attitude that I don't know how much that happens in music as much now. Maybe it does. I'm sure it does. We're just not seeing the interviews. I'm sure Turnstile is the same way, or like any of those bands that are kind of doing their thing.
I would hope so.
Who knows?
Yeah, like good. Yeah, I know all the bands
the big parkas are missing though. We need more big parkas.
More big parkas.
I feel like big parkas are like
I always reminds me of like Ali Sheedy from Breakfast Club when she like puts all her dandruff on her drawing. She puts her big parka on. Do you remember this Breakfast Club? Yeah.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, that's what I thought of Kevin Shields in his big parka. I was like, oh, he looks like Ali Sheedy. Looks like the weird girl from Breakfast Club. What was I going to say? But it was fun talking to Andrew. Definitely felt like our nerdiness lined up enough to where I could just kind of wind him up and let him get talking on stuff. I mean, the book's great though. I mean, for anybody who's a real noise head, My Bloody Valentine head or something, it's not a bad purchase. And even just the name turned my head into sound. I was like, okay, I'm in. This sounds great.
Yeah.
Because I think they become one of those bands too, where it's like, oh, it's all about the pedals, or it's all about the guitars. And I think there was a fetishizing of particular gear, like even the cover of Loveless is sort of a close up of the pickups with like a red and blue sort of color separation and stuff moving. But you see these like Jaguars and Jazzmasters, and there's a lot of cool kind of gear around this sort of thing, but it seemed so mysterious too, because these sounds were so mysterious. So I think that it spawned a lot of that kind of stuff of like, oh, like what's the gear? What do you use? Like, how do you get this sound? How do you get that sound? And then as the years have gone on, the blogs and things kind of break it down and can see it. But I think there was something that was more, I had more fun in the like whatever sound I found on the way to trying to sound like Kevin Shields. I think like being inspired was such a misnomer, or in a way, I think there's inspired sometimes just means you're just copying, I think has kind of become a short-term thing or shorthand to it. And I feel like these are those kinds of questions that are like, I loved to get in interviews or whatever, but it's always felt like it was hard to explain quickly. But the feeling of like, I like being inspired by somebody where I take what they did and then use that as a jumping off point. So now I am inspired to make something of my own based on the sounds and things you have done, the little like standing on the shoulders kind of thing, where it's like, this is so cool. You did this. I don't want to sound exactly like this, but I want to use the sounds you have made in order to make a new sound, or even the techniques of sampling or looping or these kinds of like woozy, sort of out of tune tape delays and things like those are cool effects and stuff that can be done in other kind of ways. But to have the exact guitar with the exact kind of strumming pattern through the exact pedals, through the exact amp, and just write a song that sounds like a bad copy of a song that
already exists.
You know what I mean? Like that was the kind of thing like, well, no, that's not the fun part. But if I look at what, like, well, like if I'm playing something, oh, that kind of sounds like a Kevin Shieldsy sort of thing. Like, cool. I'll say that's a good thing. And I won't shy away from, or I won't say like, oh, that's terrible. Like versus if I do something that sounds like Iggy Malmsteen or something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's bad. I'm going to not do that. But if I do something that happens to sound like a Blind by Valentine, like, okay, cool. Okay. I'll let that stay. So I think that's sort of how it's filtered in.
Well, I liked how he talked about that, using the effects, and then the engineer just turned off the dry effect first, and he was like, wait, what was that? What's that sound? Like, well, that's without your guitar coming through and only the effect. And he's like, yeah, that's going to be there. That's going to be
that's the record.
That's the one. That's what I've been looking for. I do like that, searching for. I feel like this is like an artist thing too, that you have an idea in your head and that you go, it just doesn't look right, but I can't tell you why. Oh, yeah. But it's the searching aspect for it that I think is what makes things different, what makes art different than like commerce. Because like I feel like sometimes commerce is just like, I know what people want to buy and I'm going to make that thing and it's going to be successful, whatever, using artistic methods to do that. And that's great. And that's its own thing. But I feel like where the art comes in is where you have an idea and you're struggling to get there all the time. Like every time you're doing something, you're struggling to get to this place that you don't know exists yet. It's like you're trying to get to the end of a maze, but you have a blindfold on and you're like, I know I'll get there. Eventually I'll get there, or maybe I won't. And if I don't get there, what will happen is I'll create another turn that gets there some other way. And that kind of struggle or searching for whatever that is that you need to see or hear is what makes something art, like as opposed to pop music or whatever. That's what makes it like No Age, or that's what makes it My Bloody Valentine or whatever. It's because like you have that thing in your head that you're like, I don't know. I have a place where I'm trying to go, but I need to figure out where and how. And it might take forever and I might never get there. But the searching and the path is like, there's going to be little gems along the way that will like, oh, this worked kind of enough. This is in the right space, or maybe you found it and then that opens you up to like a whole nother thing.
Yeah, I feel like that was the fun part of the like quote unquote experimental music, or the experimental ideas that I would try or that I would be excited about. Was you're literally experimenting. Like, what happens if I take this sound and mix it with this sound? And what's the sound that comes out of that? I don't know what it is, but I like these two sounds. What's the appropriate blend? Is it 90%, My Bloody Valentine, 10% Ramones? Or is it 70% Ramones with, 30% My Bloody Valentine? I think those were some of the early ideas that Dean and I worked on, when we were transitioning from the band we had before, Wives, to No Age, and it was just the two of us. It was our first time really writing together. The other band we each wrote separately with the drummer, and once he was out of the band, then Dean and I had to write together. And I think that was sort of the challenge of like, Dean was still learning how to play the drums, so he didn't really know how to play them as well as he would eventually learn to go on to play them. So he had a sort of set amount of skill at the drums, and I was a limited guitar player as well, especially at that time, and had a lot of ideas and a lot of excitement, but not a lot of, I wasn't a shredder. I wasn't very well trained. And so I think there was something fun about that sort of thing of like, okay, what can we make out of this thing? But I remember the Ramones, My Bloody Valentine thing was something we talked about early on. And even when we made our record, that first record for Sub Pop Nouns, we talked about, I think in my head, and again, this is just, the ego of the young man, right? of like, how high of a mountain or how high of a goal can I set for myself and not be afraid to not be humble. In my head going in to make this record, this was how like focused I was. Not saying I deserved it, but anyway, I kept calling it taking Loveless Mountain by Strategy. I was like, can we make Loveless and a Brian Eno record, like Taking Tiger Mountain by Strategy? Can we make these like I was very high on my own supply at this point. And that's not what the record sounds like at all. But in my head, and just, I guess I apply that in the terms of like how well thought out the sounds are on those records, from a producerial or engineering or sort of final product kind of way. Like in some ways, it was like, there's a lot of ways of looking at how to make a record. It's like, just capture the sound of the band in the room. That's the Steve Albini, the air around the drums. That's what your job is. Put the microphones there to get that to sound like it is. And I think I was more interested at that point as a guitar player and songwriter and partner with Dean. He's writing the lyrics and playing the drums, but I wanted to really make a record that felt like a record. It felt like one of these, I don't know, fun, important, influential records that, would, that I would discover later, like you'd find it in a bin years later and go, whoa, what is this? And it's this fully formed little world, this little nugget that's been carved out. And so that's what those were some of my hopes or some of the goals I set for myself. Like, not that it should sound like Loveless, not that it should sound like this is my Bloody Valentine record, but just that record as a piece of art is pretty powerful, and it moves, and it's got dance songs on it. It's got abstract songs on it. But it's just, I don't know. I guess it's that kind of thing. I just wanted to think of it as a totality and as like the sounds. Like, it wasn't so important what I was playing about, was more important was like what was coming out of the speakers back in the mixing room. Like, okay, what does this song need? And I think that was the first time I'd ever really worked in a studio like that. This was like a professional studio we were paying for. And even though it was with our friend Pete Lyman, and we tortured him for about a week.
That was it? That first record was
probably about a week. Yeah. I think we had all the songs written and everything. We were pretty fast. And this was our first real sit down with them and work in the studio. And we had Sub Pop pay the bill, or they paid us and we paid him or something. But again, it wasn't an exorbitant amount of money, but for us, it was huge in that kind of way. Like, I guess the Wives had made we made a record up in Portland on 2-inch tape, but we weren't really producing so much as we were just, again, that was the experience of like, we had 2 days, maybe 3 days to record and mix everything. Right. Maybe it was 3 days. We spent $200 a day. So that kind of $600 record.
And you're basically just playing a live set a couple times over. Yeah,
that's it. And then mixing it really quick and just saying, okay, that's it. So this one, I think we're going to stretch out. Yeah.
Well, and I think that it makes sense too, because you're not saying you want to make a My Bloody Valentine record, but you're saying like, this record made me feel this way. And so I want to make a record that makes me or other people feel that way, or try to send the same vibe out to the listener that I felt when I was listening to those records. And I feel like that's probably what most people do. I mean, I remember like, even when we just recorded stuff, and that I was always like, does this, like, can I make this riff sound like Hot Snakes?
Yeah.
No, but I tried. Yeah. I did my best.
You had a goal in mind. You had
or like a little, like, can I give a little weird part that sounds like the Jesus Lizard? Like, maybe like 25%, but we're there. We're trying. Yeah. We're doing our best. but it definitely, there were definitely bands in my head that you're going for that like heavy sound. Like, does this sound as heavy as this record, or does this sound like as clean as this record, or whatever? But
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
feel
I
like
think it
we
helps.
ever really got
It
that.
helps when you work with an engineer or producer too, just to have those references and just be clear about them and be loud about them. It's like, this is the sound. Cause again, someone like Pete Lyman or anybody who's, making a record, and myself included, when I've helped people make records, like, I want to know what's in the artist's head. Like, what is the thing they're shooting for? And like you said, that's the hardest thing to explain. Sometimes you're like, I know what it is, but I can't tell you what it is. And so I feel like those references, I don't believe in being shy about references, or because again, you could say you want to sound like Paul McCartney, but it's going to come out sounding like Merzbow or something. You know what I mean? You could say whatever you want to say. Sometimes that's the funnier part of it. It was like, I was actually trying to do this and it came out like this. Like, so, I don't think and again, you in your heart as an artist or as a creative person, when you've just ripped something off.
Yeah.
And, you can either cop to it or not. And I think that's the fun part of it. What's the cliche? Like, hacks borrow and geniuses steal, like you just say you stole it and just say, yeah, this part's totally stolen. And people can listen and go, oh yeah, kind of. But what you're doing is your thing.
It's always going to sound like you.
Yeah. And I think it's so much better when the artists themselves come out and say, like, fuck yeah, we love that song, or that was the thing. And then, because then it takes all of the bite out of the criticism of it. Like, the Strokes sound just like Tom Petty. And if they're all like, who's Tom Petty? I've never heard Tom Petty. I don't know. You're like, well, I don't know.
Come on,
go listen to it. It sounds exactly like your song, whether you heard it or not. That's how it goes.
Like when Interpol said they didn't know who Joy Division was.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, sure, buddy. I just remember reading that. I'm like, oh man, this is cool. It's like Joy Division, but it's like a little heavier and it's a little poppier. And then they're like, I don't know why people keep saying Joy Division. I'm like, oh God, come on, guys.
You got to get past that part of the whole thing of it. We sound a certain way, you know what I mean? Yeah. But that's the thing too, where like, bands, specifically a band like Joy Division, there was only X amount of music that was made, there was those 2 records, and, because the guy killed himself, there's never going to be any more. So if anybody, if we're to pick up a torch and say, oh, we're going to carry this on, or we're going to do something different, or evolve the sound, or be inspired by the sound, like, you have a whole genre of music there,
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Whatever.
I like it.
You just want the big corporations and government to steal everything? Come on.
Yeah. The little guy should be able to steal stuff too.
We should get to steal. The small guy gets to steal stuff too.
That's it.
Just be honest about it.
That's it.
We get to use it.
Yeah.
We get to use it.
Cite your sources and just go on about your life. No one's getting retired. It's going to be fun. This shit.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
Well, yeah, Andrew Purr. It's funny you mentioned Hot Snakes. I want to have on someone to talk about this. But the nice people at Akashic Books, Sorab, sent me this great Rick Froberg art book.
Oh wow,
it's a huge, that's amazing, beautiful Rick Froberg art book called "Plenty for All: The Art of Rick Froberg." Rick Froberg.
Wow, it's like a
Pitchfork.
like a life.
Yeah,
like his life's work.
Can't quite show it on the
best.
I can't quite show it all on the my. Oh, I'm hitting.
Oh my god!
But yeah, gorgeous. There's drawings, paintings, still life, early things.
Wow,
illustrations.
Oh my god, he was the best.
Artwork. Really interesting.
Artwork is the best.
Yeah, really interesting person. Woodcuts. I mean, I don't know if he had a big exhibition, but this feels like a book, like a catalog from an exhibition. Really flyer work.
I bet he did. He had I mean, our friend Rama years ago had a exhibition of his work, but God, that would have been like in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jive Like Jehu stuff is so good. Everything's so. I mean, I feel like he just had that vibe of like funny / like
throwback,
speaking about
scary.
Stealing without stealing. Like he always had like his artwork was like a very classic style.
Yeah.
But it always looked like his.
Interesting.
But it always looked like,
like
old motorcycle helmet art or, like 50s and 60s kind of like, I feel like it just blended.
But it wasn't
tough. All of those things.
But it wasn't tough,
but it was
in
funny.
Any kind of way. Yeah. It had
or it would have like a tough lion. Like what's that? The Hot Snakes one that has like a big cat on it.
Yeah.
But instead of the cat looking scary like a lion, it looked like a house cat. Or he used those birds all the time. Like those,
Yeah.
Hot Snakes. It looks just like a goofy house cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's the best.
Interesting.
I saw Hot Snakes so many times.
Really?
Probably like top live bands, other than getting to see Drive Like Jehu twice, which was also amazing. But seeing Hot Snakes, I probably saw them 5 times maybe.
Whoa. That's in LA, or when you were still up in?
Yeah,
in Portland?
no, in LA. I didn't really know them. They just put out the first record when I moved.
Midnight. I really liked that record.
They just put that out right like my last couple months in Portland.
Okay.
And so I had heard it there, and then down, like I saw them play in Pomona in the small room, like the
glass house
side room. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Glass
which
house.
is the backstage now, which is so funny.
Oh, really?
Backstage. Yeah.
Oh, they don't have that second room anymore.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
I saw them there
probably for the last 20 years.
Oh my God. Yeah. So this was a long time ago, because this would have been
25 years ago.
Weirdly enough, Dios was opening for them.
Oh, that's
so cool. It was like Dios and Hot Snakes. And then I saw them at the Troubadour 3 times. And then I feel like I saw them at the Echo downstairs, but that might have been when I saw Drive Like Jehu at the Echo downstairs. Yeah. But yeah, Hot Snakes were the best. I don't think they have a bad song. I mean, all the songs are very similar. So they have a vibe. There's a vibe. But the two of them, when they when he and John played together, it's so good because they both had their separate bands over the years. But they both needed each other.
Yeah.
They just needed each other. I was never a Rocket from the Crypt fan. It was fine, but I just never really. It was too kind of like slick your hair back,
too tough
rock.
Yeah,
for me. Yeah, like kind of tough. And Rick always put in the like vulnerability.
The silliness.
I feel like.
Yeah,
but and the silliness and the vulnerable. Like his lyrics were always funny, creative. And like they're talking about like killing the bass player Garwood. Like, do you know that song?
No. Oh man!
So there's like,
hold on, wait.
I got Garwood wouldn't listen.
I gotta run real quick.
Oh yeah.
But
we can talk about this.
Let's pick it. Yeah, we'll pick this up. Okay, dystopian cop movies and killing the bass player.
Yes,
all right, everybody,
totally.
Be well. We'll see you all later.